Hello, and thanks for taking the time to review this presentation. Its purpose is to help you become familiar with the teacher evaluation process used in the School District of Waukesha during the 2012-13 school year. We'll be covering a lot today, so I want to pave the way a little. We will start with an overview of the evaluation process and discuss timelines and resources. Then we'll go into more depth by looking at each of the evaluation components. Which component is used depends on the needs of the individual teacher. I am pointing out the annual reflective process here as well to remind teachers and supervisors that there is a self-reflective component that we want teachers to engage in during the evaluation off years. We've tweaked the plan to align better with the upcoming state educator effectiveness system, but essentially it is the same plan that was used last school year. Near the end, I'll provide you with information about how you can access the resources I'll be talking about. In the overview, I'll quickly point out what has changed since last school year, 2011-12, and review our beliefs and values. Last year, we made some changes to the format, and as I reviewed that format, I noted that there were a lot of bullets explaining the process. Well, this year there are still a lot of bullets, but they are there to give you ideas of what to look for when evaluating that particular area or domain. The evaluation is aligned to best practices, most notably Charlotte Danielson's Framework for Teaching. The indicators for success are cross-referenced to that framework. The idea is to begin to introduce some of the terminology of the coming state educator effectiveness system and show that our current process is fairly well aligned to that system. This verbiage is taken from the teacher evaluation handbooks from years prior. It is still relevant today and reflects the idea that we want teachers to continue to learn and grow. Take a look at the last bullet point. We identify areas to help teachers continue to learn and grow. This is the purpose of the Moving Towards Expectations rating. Other ratings include meets expectations, exceeds expectations, does not meet expectations. We realize that employees want to know how to get ratings in exceeds expectations. And the truth is, while some teacher practice may visit that realm for a while, Charlotte Danielson says it doesn't live there. Very few teachers will receive exceeds expectations as a rating. Meets expectations is a good thing, but moving towards expectations isn't always a bad thing. There are always areas where a teacher needs to learn and grow. A variety of factors play into whether a mark in moving towards expectation is not a good thing. So for now, consider it not a bad thing, unless you hear differently from the supervisor. These continue to be the district's values, and you'll note right at the top is innovation, personalized learning, and rigor. These play very well into the evaluation process, as does shared responsibility, teamwork, professionalism, communication, and high expectations. The evaluation process needs to be a partnership, and we want teachers to feel comfortable working with their supervisors, not only for their own good, but for the good of their students. Take a look at these values, which were reprinted from the previous editions of the Waukesha Teacher Evaluation Booklet. We value the desire to question and create challenging, relevant, and connected experiences. We want teachers to set stretch goals for themselves. Principals work hard at developing strong relationships based on trust, respect, and collaboration. Without those, we cannot achieve our greatest potentials. The best way to accomplish this? My opinion is that we do less communication by email and more through meaningful dialogue, face-to-face. We know everyone is in a different place, and that's why we have our personalized teacher development program. We want personalized learning for students, so it makes sense to embrace our differences and nurture professional growth. We want teachers to take the ratings they receive in their summative reports and use them to develop their own personalized PD plan and set goals for the next year. Regarding timelines and process, the Professional Staff Performance Evaluation booklet provides an overview of the entire evaluation process so teachers and evaluators alike understand the expectations. At least one observation is planned with a pre- and post-observation discussion. A form is available to help plan this process in the Procedures Handbook about page 12, just prior to the summative evaluation form. The supervisor uses the evidence collected to determine the rating in each of the domains, and a final evaluation conference is scheduled before the end of the school year. Then, we would expect that teachers use the evaluation results to create their own personalized professional development plan for the next school year. Our evaluation system has not changed the growth areas, or as Danielson calls them, the domains. They remain instruction, curriculum, classroom management, professional growth, and professional responsibilities. What's new is that we've cross-referenced the Waukesha indicators of proficiency with Danielson's elements from the relevant domain. But more on that later. Our evaluation system has three basic components: cooperative clinical supervision, the third year checklist, and the directed assistance plan. The purpose of the next two slides is to give you an idea about which component should be used and why. Each year in August, the HR department will forward to supervisors the list of teachers scheduled for evaluation. The cooperative clinical supervision format is used for teachers new to the profession or new to Waukesha, for teachers new to a building, or as determined by the supervisor. This is a collaborative process between teacher and supervisor. The district's evaluation booklet titled Professional Staff Performance Evaluation provides most of what you need to know. New teachers should have at least 3 observation cycles completed in the year, preferably by February 1st. One of the observation cycles should be planned with a pre- and post-observation discussion. The other 2 should be unannounced, so there would not be a pre-conference discussion, but there would be an expectation to schedule a post-observation discussion so that the teacher receives verbal and written feedback. Examples of the evidence collection are provided within the resources that we've uploaded as a shared document on Google Drive. When you review the summative evaluation form for the clinical supervision component, you'll note that the Waukesha domains and indicators of success are cross-referenced with the relevant domains and elements from Danielson's framework. As an example, I'm showing you here that the instruction area of evaluation is aligned with Danielson's Domain 3, which is also titled Instruction. In the box below, we've listed the teaching standards that we believe best fit this domain, and we've also provided one-line descriptions of Danielson's element for this instructions domain. So what are the indicators that a teacher is meeting expectations in the area of instruction? The summative evaluation form provides a list of indicators that could be used to show performance. I've printed just 3 of those here. The first one, posted targets and I can language, are cross-referenced with 3A from Danielson's instruction domain, which is communicating with students. Now let's take a look at the middle example on the next slide. The indicator states students are fully engaged in learning and are part of a positive classroom environment to maximize student learning. The elements cross-referenced from Danielson's framework are listed as 3A and 3C, communicating with students and engaging students in learning. The Danielson cross-references 3A and 3C are there to point you in the right direction if you need examples of the types of evidence you might collect as part of the evaluation. There's no expectation that you need to continually refer back to the Danielson framework, but given the coming changes with the process, we think it's a good way to become acclimated to the framework and its terminology. Now, in the third bullet, we suggest what evidence might be collected to reflect the teacher's work. One of the resources provided to you on the Google Drive is titled Teacher Possible Evidence Sources. The document lists possible evidence that could be collected that addresses the proficiency levels of individual elements, such as those from our example, communicating with students and engaging students in learning. You might have other artifacts or pieces of evidence. The point here is that if you are not sure, you don't have to guess at it. You can use the Teacher Possible Evidence Sources to help. The second component of the Waukesha Professional Staff Development Staff Evaluation process is the checklist evaluation for experienced teachers that are already meeting teaching standards and district expectations. This process and the form are similar to last year's. As described in the Professional Staff Evaluation booklet, teachers on the checklist component should prepare for evaluation through self-reflection on their practice. In September or October, the supervisor and teacher meet to discuss the teacher's reflections and plans for further improvement of instruction. In January, the supervisor and teacher could schedule a check-in to assess the progress and to share any artifacts that may have been collected. The supervisor will verify the use of best practices based on all teaching. Sometime between April and June, the teacher and supervisor should meet to review evidence and artifacts collected and assess the progress made on goals. Afterward, the third-year checklist is completed by the supervisor and provided to the teacher for signature by the end of the school year. Directed assistance may be implemented anytime there is a continuing concern, either during the initial 3 years of employment or during the clinical supervision evaluation. If a supervisor has a concern about the performance of a teacher who is not on evaluation, the supervisor should begin the cooperative clinical supervision process. The Directed Assistance Plan is detailed in the Employee Handbook as well as the Professional Staff Performance Assessment Procedures booklet. When a teacher is not on evaluation, they engage in a self-reflection year and share with the supervisor his or her own professional growth for the past year. The Professional Staff Performance Assessment booklet provides prompts for reflection and goal setting during this non-evaluative year. Evaluation should be considered an ongoing process and discussion. Supervisors will have an agenda item at their monthly meetings to discuss evaluation and how to fairly assess performance and calibrate expectations across the district. In addition, many central office and building administrators will receive training provided by the state in preparation for the pilot year of new educator effectiveness system. The resource list is shown here exactly as it is titled in Google Docs. Teacher Eval Danielson Framework is the state's framework for teaching evaluation instrument based on Charlotte Danielson's work. Teacher Possible Evidence Sources provides ideas for how and the look-fors in assessing performance. Teacher Evidence Record Worksheet is a Word document that can be used to organize and gather data and artifacts throughout the school year. And the Teacher Effectiveness Manual is a draft of the Developmental Pilot Process Manual for the State Teacher Evaluation of Practice. This concludes the orientation presentation for the School District of Waukesha's Teacher Evaluation Process. If you have any questions about the process, please let us know. And thank you for watching.